Hello, it's Ashley with At Home with Ashley. This week we are taking thrifted frames and giving them an upgrade. So I have been wanting to add more childhood pictures in my house, and I went to buy frames and I was like, every single, like even small frame is $10 each. I was like, what does this world come to? So I went to the thrift store. I bought frames for $1 each, somewhere 25 cents. My thrift store is pretty cheap. But I took them home and they're really ugly. And I thought I would share 12 ways to upgrade thrift frames, and I'm sure you can come up with even more, but I hope this gets your ideas starting, because if you want frames in your house, you can get them very cheap. So I have rainbow bookshelves, and each frame that we're doing is gonna be a different color to coordinate with the books on that shelf, and then I can just tuck in a frame and it'll be fun for me to look at, and I think it'll look really nice. The first one we're doing is seashells. So when I was on my trip recently to California, I gathered seashells, I put them in a Ziploc bag, and now I'm going to add them to this frame. It has weird carvings on it, so I am just brushing on glue. I'm using tacky glue, and this dries clear when it's dried, which is very important so that you don't see glue residue. And I'm just pushing the seashells on. It takes a little bit of time, but honestly it went pretty fast. It gives that mosaic look, and the seashells have so much texture, plus it reminds me of my trip. And then I can put my picture inside of it. It looks really cute on my shelf. The second one I'm doing is the bobbin look, and if you've ever seen these half split balls, things of wood, you can buy them like this, and then all you have to do is glue them on to your frame. And I have big regrets with this because I used hot glue, and when you do hot glue, it kind of like leaves extra, and there's like strings, and I didn't realize how messy it was until I was spray painting it, and it just doesn't look 100% great. I probably would have tried the tacky glue and let it dry overnight. Just any other type of glue, wood glue, would probably work as well, just so that you don't get that residue. I ended up doing another version of the bobbin frame, and this time I did the tacky glue. I just put it on with a paintbrush, and then I put the balls on, and because of the tacky glue is not dry right away, you could move it in case like one didn't fit in perfectly, so that was much better. And when I went to spray paint it, it was so much cleaner. One thing I will know is if the balls have any little ding at all, just don't use those for this project because they show up once they're painted. I had this picture frame with like random words engraved on it, so I spray painted it and those words were still showing. So I decided to cover the frame in grosgrain ribbon. But the main event of this show is the bows. So I took this terracotta clay and I put it in these bow molds, and then I just popped it out, and once they had dried a little bit, I painted them all with acrylic paint, and once that had dried, I hot glued that onto the frame. It's very bold and graphic, but because I'm making each shelf a different color, it looks so cute on the shelf with the black books, and the bows are just so adorable. So I love a scallop look for a picture frame, and you could do this in a lot of different ways. Painting it would be very easy, but I had some wallpaper samples that worked really good for this. They both had like a scallop edge on it, so I cut those part out, and then I cut it on an angle so it could go on kind of like you're mitering the edge. And then for the pill and stick one, I just like pulled off the backing, stuck it on the front, and then I did another one where it wasn't pill and stick wallpaper, it's just like normal wallpaper. So I used Elmer's glue to glue the back of the wallpaper and the front of the frame, and I stuck that on, and they both turned out super cute. I just love the scallop look, and again, I'm having fun with like matching the colors of the shelf to the frame. A really fun thing you could do to upgrade a frame is to use transfers on it. So you can use these for furniture. Usually they come much bigger, but I bought the smaller version, which was very affordable, and all you do is cut out around the pattern, pull off the front, and then put it where you want on your picture frame. Rub it with, I use the back of a paintbrush, and then once it's adhered enough, you can pull it off. And sometimes I rub it somewhere if it's not perfectly stuck. It's kind of like temporary tattoos for furniture or picture frame. And I did this on the wood frame, and you can't really see the pattern. I mean, I wanted it wood so it looked good with the brown shelf, but I also ended up doing it on a white frame so you could better see the pattern, and that turned out very cute. Another option is you can put lace on the front of a picture frame. So again, I had another one of those picture frames with the words on it. I spray painted it, and then I just took some ribbon and then layered that with lace, or just like trim that you would use for sewing. And it was so easy because I just hot glued it on the back, both layers, and then it looked really cute. So this is a really fast one, and the texture is very nice, and it's like soft and romantic looking. Really fun one to make is painting a picture frame like in the folk art style. So the secret with this, layer on lots of different patterns and colors. So I started with flower, and then I added the leaves, and I like went in and shaded the petals and the stems, and I added a scallop on the outside and a white dot for the middle of the flower, and all of those added up and looked really cute. Honestly, I could sit and paint frames like this for ages. It was very fun, and I wish I had more frames just to like paint more of the folk art style. It was a very therapeutic, fun one to do. I wanted to do a fabric wrapped frame, so I had this yellow fabric, and I've done a whole video on this, so I will link it in case you want to watch it. But all you do is you cut the fabric a little bit bigger than your frame, and then you can use sprayed adhesive, or I didn't want to use that because it's a little messy. I just brushed on some Elmer's glue, and then I put the fabric around it, and then I use hot glue on the inside to kind of tuck it in, and then you cut out the middle of the picture frame and wrap that in. This does add some bulk, so the like backing on my frame didn't fit in very well. It was kind of a silly frame to do this with, but it looks really cute. Honestly, something with a bigger frame, like a thicker frame, would look better because then you could see more of the pattern. Today's the last day I'm working on the frames. We're going to finish them up. Another option I thought would be really cool is to do a striped frame, and I decided to do this for my red shelf. The frame was a little bit beat up, so I started by giving it a quick spray paint to kind of clean it up, and then I wanted stripes on it that were a little bit thinner, so I decided to do washi tape. So I taped on washi tape, and I used one washi tape piece as a spacer and then would do a stripe, and it took a while to put on all the tape on, and then I took it back outside and spray painted it again to seal those lines. I was a little bit worried about how the washi tape would do because it's not formulated to work like painter's tape. It then took the red paint I wanted to make the stripes with and painted that over. It was kind of starting to be fun at this part, but the real fun part was taking off the tape and seeing the stripes, and they looked really clean and good. There was like one or two on the side that didn't look as good, but I was like, the front looks great. That's all I care about. I put the picture in, and it's so cute. I love the bold graphic stripes. It would look really good in a lot of different colors. Of course, this is a big look, but I really like how it turned out. Another option I thought would be fun was be wallpaper. And I know I did wallpaper with the scallops, but this one I wanted to wallpaper the whole frame. So I really treated this a lot like I did the fabric wrapped one, but I used glue, Elmer's glue, on both the wallpaper and the frame, and I applied it all the way around, and I just started like wrapping it and doing the corners like presents and hot gluing just the corners down. I used Elmer's glue for everywhere else because that's all that really was needed. It was a bunch of folding and trimming paper until it looked really good all the way wrapped around, and I'm happy I did it that way. At first I was thinking about cutting little stripes, but I think it looks so cute wrapped. And then on the middle I cut another piece of wallpaper because the picture I have for this frame isn't big enough to go in the middle. It's just going to kind of sit on top, but it's so cute all together, and it looks really nice on the shelf. I love the wallpaper. I think this would be really fun to do for a wall that is wallpapered and use more of that wallpaper for the frame. It would look very good. So another option I wanted to do would be a marbled option, and this is more of an advanced one, but I've marbled before, so I figured I could do it. I was gonna do the frame too, and then at the last minute I got nervous. So for the frame, instead of marbling it, I gave it the bobbin look, and I spray painted it gold, which looked really good. And then I just marbled some of the paper. So with marbling, what you need to do is you have to put a solution on the paper and let that dry overnight. And then the next day I got out my bath, which has been sitting in my cupboard for 6 months, and I resurrected it, and I had to add more of the solution to it. I don't even remember what the name of it is. And then I put the paint on top. I used a rake to kind of make a pattern, and I put the paper in, and it turned out just okay. I think I needed to totally redo the water because it's been sitting for so long. So I would give myself a C on this one. It turned out okay, but definitely not as cool as I wanted it to. That's okay, that's life. Last one I thought would be fun, number 12, is needlepoint. I love doing needlepoint. I've never done a picture frame before, so I bought some needlepoint canvas and I hand painted on the pattern for this using the frame from the thrift store as the guide. And then I've spent weeks and weeks, whenever I'm like sitting watching TV or at a sports thing, just stitching and doing the needlepoint, and I finally finished it today, just in time to kind of upholster my frame with it. So I ended up putting a little bit of bamboo batting down first on the frame, and then I started covering it. The hard thing with this frame, the glass didn't come out. I would have had to break it, and then I was scared to work with it with broken shards of glass, so I just left it in. But I trimmed it down and I glued it onto the frame just like the other upholstered frame look. On the middle, because I couldn't like fold it on the inside, I just kind of had to hot glue it on, and then I added some trim along both sides to just kind of clean it up. But it turned out so cute. The little bows are so sweet. It's like nice and like plush, and it looks really good, and I spent a very long time on this, so I'm glad it looks good. This one has one of my favorite pictures in it. It goes on the purple shelf and it's very sweet. Okay, all of the picture frames are done, and I know you've seen them as we've done each step, but I wanted to show you them all together. Here they are on the table, and then I also put them on my shelves in the coordination area, and it looks so good. I think they're very cute. It took a lot of work, more work than I thought it would be, but I think if you did one or two methods and you could like do assembly line and kind of have the supplies out and finish them instead of figuring out a bunch of different methods, it would be much faster. So I hope some of these like spark some ideas for you, in that picture frames from the thrift store, although they could be beat up and look terrible, they can end up very cute. If you have any questions about this project, please let me know in the comments. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you're not already, please subscribe.